Hello folks, this is a brief review of the Mindel Desert Fox desert boots, and this particular pair are ex-British Army, which I'll just come back to. First of all, a bit of a history of Mindel. They are a very high quality German manufacturer that go back something like 300 plus years in their traditions of boot manufacturing. I think the present company started in the 1920s. And apart from military boots, they make a lot of hiking boots, and they regularly receive high reviews in the British walking magazines. I actually live in the Middle East, and I wanted to pick up on some fitness and do a lot more walking, so I was looking to buy a pair of high quality desert boots. And near where I live in the UK, in the centre of England, there's an army surplus store, so I went down there and I managed to find these. And when I got these, they were virtually brand new. They had been issued because in the toe caps here, there was some dark sand, the sort of sand you get in Northern Arabia, like Iraq and Jordan. But apart from that, at the time, there wasn't any other marks on them. As you can see now, they're pretty well used. There's still plenty of life in them, but I have used them extensively over the last nearly 2 years, and I've walked in these boots in the Middle East, something like 1,852 kilometres. That's well over 1,100 miles in all sorts of temperatures. Anybody who lives in the Middle East knows that in the summer, well, in the winter time, it's a very pleasant 25 degrees centigrade, but then during the summer it gets up to somewhere around 48 degrees centigrade. And what's important in a desert boot, that you definitely need a good sole so that you don't get the heat transfer through from the ground, because the ground temperatures are even higher. And most of the walking I've done has been on block paving. There's a 12 kilometre, which is what, 7 miles or so, block paving track near where I live. But I've also been extensively at the desert, on sand, on rough tracks, all sorts of terrains and conditions, and they've coped very well. They're extremely comfortable. They took hardly any breaking in when I got them. I find the lacing systems to be excellent, very fast. Something I would do when buying new boots is always look for these sort of speed lace systems. They're much faster and better than the old-fashioned eyelets. So a little bit more story about Mindel and Desert Fox. Back in, I believe, 2007, 2008, the British Army was looking to upgrade their desert boots as they moved into Helmand province in Afghanistan and the situations also in Iraq. And they went to 2 companies. They went to Lower with their elite boot, which I haven't got a pair of those yet, and they went to Mindel with these, the Desert Fox. And as you can see, they're in the desert tan colour. Desert Fox, now quite an ironic name for me, in a sense that anybody knows the history of the Second World War and the history of North Africa, where the British and the British Commonwealth and later the Americans and the Free French and other forces were fighting both the Italians and of course the Germans with the famous Africa Corps, headed up by who was Ronald Owen, whose nickname was the Desert Fox. I'm not sure if that was a nickname that the Allied troops gave him. I think it was. So now we have, all these years later, a German boot company selling to the British Army a boot named after a famous German general. There we go. That's the way of the world, I guess. But they are excellent quality. They've now been upgraded again because since 2012-13 time, the British Army have now moved over from black combat boots, temperate combat boots, and tan desert boots to dark brown in various grades. And I've got some other boots which I will try and do a review on, ex-British Army boots in the brown. And so there is now a Desert Fox Super. So not Super, Pro, Desert Fox Pro, which is in brown. I haven't seen actually a pair of them. I've only seen them in the magazines. They're almost identical to these, except in the sole. The outsole is different on the Pro versions, but apart from that, they look very, very similar. And they're in the Desert Combat High Liability group. The British Army have now got various groups. One of the manufacturers is again Mindel in the Desert Combat High Liability group, and they're the Fox Pro, Desert Fox Pro boot. Haven't seen them for sale anywhere yet. On the pricing on these, again, the retail price is in the UK around £140, which is what, depending on the exchange rate, $190, $185 if you work in dollars. But I got these for £60, which is around $80. So they're extremely good value. So if you're looking out for a high quality pair, they're not Gore-Tex lined. They have something called climber lining. You don't perhaps need Gore-Tex line in a desert environment. The only thing that went wrong with them, and I don't think you better see this, is the lining actually did wear away on the sides. It could be the way I just walk, but apart from that, they've been extremely comfortable, extremely hard wearing, and I'm still using them when I go out for my walks, and there's still, I believe, still some wear left in them. And as I say, they've done well over 1,000 miles now of walking in the desert in all different conditions. So I would certainly recommend Mindel. I think they're an excellent quality product, double stitched, treble stitched. As I mentioned, the lacing system is excellent. Very fast lacing system, very comfortable lacing system. So if you're in the market for a pair of desert boots, you couldn't go far wrong in buying a pair of these from your local army store. If you can still get them, I guess they'll start to run out of stock as the newer models come in. But if you can pick them up now, then I would suggest you do that. As I mentioned, I've also purchased some other, since buying these, I've started to learn a little bit more about army boots and ex-army boots, and I've been purchasing some of the other models, and over time I'll try and do some reviews of the other models that the British Army now have got. I've also got a pair of the Combat 95, the black boots that they were wearing, and as I say, since 2013 really, they've moved on to brown boots. Okay, that's about it. So take care out there and enjoy your walking.